Hello fellow airsofters, we're going to try out a new gun today, but quick little review here. The first gun I got was a tan version of the regular AAP, and that worked fine, but the parts inside of it are all cast aluminum and they break very quickly, so you gotta go to stainless steel parts and stuff like that. But it's a cheap gun, and I do like the regular 5-inch barreled version. As much as it's cool to have a really compact gun, I can never get this to shoot 350 FPS because there simply isn't enough barrel for the air to get the speed of the BB to that rate of speed. I run HPA, I don't use the magazines, so no matter how much HPA I put in there, it'll never hit 350 because the barrel's short. So that's why I prefer the 5-inch barrel. Anyways, so yeah, these are fine, and with the optional, aftermarket triggers, this one shoots very fast. This one has a light-end thing here. This is to protect my goggles from getting scratched up. Anyways, this Glock 34 is really heavy and slow as molasses shooting, but it's been pretty reliable. It has a roller bearing in the hammer, so but it's very slow compared to the AAPs. But the AAPs, again, they're not very reliable. You gotta swap out the parts. My friend has a regular 5-inch version of this pistol and has never really had a problem, so I thought I'd try out this Novritsch here. He was opened at the store, but I am told it is new. Apparently you can get really cool colorways, but I just got a black one. Okay, let's see here. A little instruction manual here. Okay, a little intro to the thing. Yep, so this can be a primary pistol, which is what I do, HPA pistols. I don't use a rifle anymore. Okay, well, actually nothing on the actual gun itself. I guess you gotta go to this QR code to actually learn about how to take it apart and the like, but I'm not even gonna take it apart. I just want to show how well it shoots and all that stuff as a field. Some desiccants, keep things dry. Alright, really nice foam here. Magazine, this was tested at the store as well. And then there's a little hex tool here, but I'm gonna use a different one. And then there's something jammed underneath the foam in here. I gotta get it out. It's in between the pieces. What is this thing? Oh, it's some sort of tool. This I probably would need to have in my toolbox. A fill valve. Oh, I see. That maybe replaces the fill valve in the magazine, if I had to guess. Anyways, let's see. We have a rounded off bottom plate to this magazine. And then this is a very heavy magazine. This thing is cast alloy of some sort. Possibly, I wonder if this is real aluminum. But it's very heavy. It's crazy. There's a purple rubber piece there for the air to enter. And then if you did want to use the regular magazine, pretty strong spring there. Okay. Yeah, anyways. There's probably some gas in here because it was tested at the store. Yeah. Some propane. Or scentless propane. Alright, that seems pretty high quality. Let's see if there's any... No, nothing on the... Nothing else here. Okay. Very fancy box. You could give this as a gift. And it would be much appreciated probably by whoever receives it. So this thing, I guess the overall dimensions might be important. What's also kind of weird to me is there's no adapter. There's a threaded barrel, a receiver for a tracer, but it doesn't actually come with one, so that's unfortunate. So I don't know, I'm gonna have to try to see if I can find one. I would say the length of this is around 26, a little under 26 centimeters, like 258 millimeters, and it's a little over 10 inches, like 10 1/4 inches. This is a 6-inch barreled one, which is obviously quite heavy, but my theory is it shouldn't require as much air. It should save on HPA air with more air pushing the BB behind it, right? Because that's why the compact AAP is not so great. Alright, so the grips here, you can remove them apparently. There's some sort of a Looks maybe like a Torx head screw, possibly I'm not really sure. There's like 2 levels of machining in there. Well, I'm not gonna swap this out. This is actually a plastic grip. It also possibly might be 3D printed. I'm not sure. There's a graininess to it that looks like powder printing, but I'm not sure. It might just be molded that way. So the mag release is round, as you can see. The trigger is lightened a little bit. I don't know if this is decorative. There's just like a bolt head there, but I think it's just part of the plastic here. This is actually plastic, this trigger guard. You can see it's inset here, this plastic part, but this out here is aluminum, I assume. So this whole thing is molded plastic, I guess. I guess it lightens it up. That's fine by me. A little safety back here. Feels pretty good. I usually wear gloves, but in the raw hand it feels pretty nice as well. The trigger has some ridging for grip, so that does feel nice. And then you can adjust, I guess, the length of the trigger, the sensitivity of it. Move it in and out. I'm not sure if I even need to move it in and out, because, alright, let's see. You get about 2 millimeters, 3 millimeters of play, and then it hits a wall. So that's pretty, I think it's pretty fast right out of the box. Okay, this is also plastic, I think, back here. So anyways, if you don't activate this, it's not going to work anyways, right? So once you clamp that, it'll actually fire. Some lightning holes are nice. A lot of nice machining work here to slightly lighten it. They're not really deep though. But up here now we have a fully cut out lightning holes. Also here, the sight here is a fiber optic green in front and green in back. Kind of wish it was a different color, but still looks pretty good to me. Let me see if I can focus on the front one. No, I cannot. Well, anyways, it looks pretty good. This is the adjustment screw, I guess, to adjust the hop up, so you don't have to take the slide apart like on an AAP or the Wii. You have to take the gun apart because it's inside the hop up adjustment. I'm going to assume you can put a sight right here if you remove this and have a direct mount sight, but I'm not even going to probably bother. Okay. So the hammer itself, yeah, it's pretty grippy. No problems. Cocking that back seems pretty nice. It's only a single-sided mag release. It's pretty common, I guess, on these pistols. This thing is made in Taiwan. It's got some, I don't know if this is laser rastered. Could be laser etched, or possibly just paint, this text here. Alright, this side looks nice. Oh, yeah. I instinctively wanted to move the whole thing back. But as you can see, only this back half is what, recoils. So it should be pretty easy on the tracers. Not much shock ruining the electronics boards and tracers. And also any electronics in your sight. So less recoil and less mass should equal faster shooting ability. Okay, so there's a purple nozzle in there. Oh, okay. Purple bucking as well. Alright, that looks pretty good so far. So you can see here, this sticks out quite a bit. So for some reason it got jammed. You could try to pull it out, but it's so heavy. This is an insanely heavy magazine to me. It's because I've been using plastic Wii magazines for my Glocks. But this, yeah, alright, anyways. I don't know if someone makes a plastic magazine for this type of gun. Please leave a comment if you know, because I'd like to put that on my HPA adapter. Well, unfortunately, you will not. I was, instinctively thinking this would slide back so you could see more of the barrel, how it's all fluted and spiraled. But this barrel is fixed, and so I have to assume that's going to improve the accuracy. Okay, I guess that's all I can really show you. There's there's a rail here if you want to put a flashlight on, but I don't bother doing that either. Some sort of screw here, this guide rod here, that doesn't move at all either. Let's see what's going on in there. There's like a white bushing going around that thing. Up in here, I don't know, some sort of lightning. And then what's going on here? November? Oh, Novritsch. I guess that's the abbreviated for that. I'm not sure why it says 5.1. So this frame might be shared with the regular stock version. That's the only assumption I can make. And then this part onwards is different, right? So I think the stock version must stop right here or somewhere around there, right? So the front end is different from the 5-inch version. That's all I can assume. I guess we should probably weigh it, maybe? Well, it's 700 grams without the magazine. If you want to actually use it in the stock form, you're now over a kilogram. 1062, right? That's and it doesn't even have gas or BBs in it. So it's definitely a heavy setup. For comparison, you know, this thing is plastic, and I even have the lighter bolt in here. This thing's only 300. This gun weighs as much as this magazine. Right? That's kind of crazy. But yeah, again, you're gonna have to replace all the parts inside of there eventually. Yeah, that's insane. I knew this was heavy. I guess I wasn't crazy as usual. The 5-inch version without the magazine is $395. This is $557. So yeah, this is quite a beast. 700 just for the pistol alone. So, and then again, this is almost twice as heavy. You could almost run 2 of these compacts for the weight of that. Granted, I've definitely lightened this one up a little bit. That's interesting. I would do wear size extra large gloves. So if you have small hands, I'm not sure but how you measure this thing. This is 35.5 thick. At the bottom, this is around 57 millimeters under the trigger with that thing, maybe 52. The reach to the trigger, somewhere around 72. I'm not sure if that's going to help you guys out, but for me it feels quite fine. You can see the overlap of these fingers, so I have a good purchase and grip on this thing. But wow, it is heavy. But I'd rather have a heavy gun that's reliable than a lighter gun that I have to fix throw away every year. I've bought 3 of these now, and I've been playing maybe 3 years now. So basically every year I have to buy an AAP, which is still cheaper than buying this, but time fixing the AAPs is getting annoying. So hopefully this will last without having to fix it. Alright, let's see how easy it is to fill this. I am going to use this magazine at least just once here. As usual, the BB Stone loads very easily. That's the problem with all these pistols. Yeah, that's not the greatest, but... Okay, a fresh can of gas here. No problems there. Before I forget, if you for some reason lose the little hex wrench for the hop-up, this is an M2. So that's a very common hex wrench size. Alright, I'm going to put some safety glasses on. Got my tank set for 20 gram BBs. Let's jam this up in here. Yeah, easy. Cock the thing. Gotta get a pad back here. .376 FPS. So that's faster than most fields, every field I know in my country. Yeah, 368, 367, 364. So that actually makes sense because the barrel is so long that a lot of the gas is getting behind there to propel the BB further and faster. Alright, I'm going to just do a couple rapid trigger bursts. So the gas, it's slowed down because the gas has to expand and try to catch up, which it won't, which is why I highly recommend you go to HPA. So here are the results from that magazine. So it ended up 332 FPS. And at slow speeds, it's way fast, like 365 and stuff. So I guess that makes sense. So I was curious, so I went to the website. Here are the basic specs. A really tight barrel, 6.01, I guess it's designed for pretty heavy BBs for outdoor use, but I do CQB, so I only use 20s. Let's see, the magazine takes 27 BBs, and I was wondering if there's a full auto. I don't see any switch anywhere on this thing to go full auto. I don't think it does. I think it's just a, semi-auto. And actually for me that's fine because I never go full auto anyways. No field allows it in Thailand, so this works for me. Naturally, if it does go full auto, please leave a comment, but I don't see it here. I'm sure it's kind of important to a lot of people that play outdoors where they allow full auto, but I don't know. Sorry. Alright, so that's the first and last time I'll ever use that magazine originally. It's too fast for all the fields here, so HPA is the solution. Consistent speed, and I can adjust how much air gets into this so I can play at 350 FPS, which is what's common here. I do like primary mag adapters. I had a Glock one, and it's fantastic, but this obviously is meant for this type of gun here. The only issue I find with this is where's the washer and the O-ring that goes here, right? It's a very tight hole, but I guess it's probably going to take the O-ring from the magazine, right? Because air's going to leak past this if it doesn't have an O-ring. So now I release the gas. Don't ever open up a magazine without releasing the gas first, or the thing's going to blow into your face, right? Let's see how easy this magazine is to take apart. Well, that was super easy. Okay, this is plastic, by the way. It's actually quite thin. I question the durability of this. If you actually were to drop this magazine, I have a feeling this would break because the magazine is so heavy. Okay, there's a hex screw in there, but it's much bigger than 2. Maybe it's a 3. If it should be of interest of you, this mag adapter and that insert for the magazine is 123 grams. Oh, the extra long bolt, 128 grams. But you are going to remove this little plastic bit, which is only 6 grams, by the way. It turns out this is using a 2.5 millimeter hex here. And coincidentally, that's the same size as the one that came with the primary. Careful with the spring. Yeah, so you can see, yeah, you're going to have to take this O-ring and the washer backing it. Let's take it off this thing, pop it on this thing. I'm not sure why they don't have wider washers. It's like almost the same size as the bolt head. Seems like it would make sense to have a wider washer and a wider rubber O-ring, or actually it's not even an O-ring. This is a flat rubber washer if you look at it. But wouldn't it make sense if these were wider to just seal more air, more reliable, I guess? Okay, so we got to remove this for a moment, and then this is a well-designed little channel to feed the BBs. Takes up some space so they don't have the zigzagging as much. Now the O-ring, yeah, the primary doesn't come with an O-ring, so I gotta take it off here, but you gotta be really careful to not scratch up this O-ring. Let's see if this plastic toothpick can do the job. Oh, yeah, the actual O-ring's not tight on there. Alright. So now I gotta slap this on here. I don't know why they can't just design magazines with round bottoms, right? Forget the whole realism thing. What goes on inside of a magazine, who cares, right? If it was a round opening, I guess maybe there'd be less gas in the magazine, but there's always plenty of gas to shoot all the BBs, it seems, if you shoot slowly. So it would just be nicer and smarter to have a round interface. To put a round O-ring onto a square shape, I find that really odd in this particular hobby. Silicone oil. Now the hard part is lining up the bolts here. Oh boy, are you kidding me? Is this some sort of special channel? This is not fitting, right? Or I guess it's just really tight. On the Glock one, it wasn't like that tight, but I guess it'll still work. Alright, so now the challenge is really finding that thread hole. Oh, actually it's raised up quite a bit. I'm backing it out to find the thread counterclockwise. I just found the thread. That was actually a lot easier than my Glock adapter from primary. Oh boy. See, it just tore up that thing. So that's another thing this hobby needs to have. Just this all integrated as one piece, right? Why have these bolted on? Just have an all plastic magazine. The only thing that should be replaced is the valve thing and this plastic part up here. But now I have to go find another O-ring. So the shaft of this thing is 2.7. And maybe you want the internal diameter of that O-ring 2.5 or something. I just put a thicker washer on here. And I think maybe partially why that thing tore is I didn't have oil making it slick. I want the smoother side here so it doesn't tear up the O-ring. So it also might make sense to actually tighten this without the O-ring first, just to get this all tight, and then go back and add it again with the O-ring. I don't know, what do you guys think? Please leave a comment the best way you've had experience putting this stuff on. Not sure if that's a good idea, oiling that, but yeah, I definitely missed the thread hole now. Alright, a few things. The O-ring from the magazine just leaked air like crazy. So on AliExpress you can buy O-ring kits for HPA, and this is part of a kit and a whole bunch of other O-rings just for good measure, but roughly this O-ring that worked is like a 21 millimeter outside diameter, and the diameter of the actual O-ring itself is 2.3, maybe 2.5. That's the best I can do. Maybe, yeah, it seems like it's 2.3. So it's a thicker O-ring, or it's just a new O-ring, and it worked. I did end up taking out the O-ring behind the washer there because it was so squished. It left a big gap here, and I didn't want to tear it. It's still gappy. It bothers me. I don't think it should be that gappy, but it is. But I basically don't have an O-ring there anymore. Instead, I have this Loctite 567 thread sealant. I think it's meant for like water pipes. But I tested it. It holds air. So once that dries out, I think it should be fine. But basically, I have a really big washer screwing down on that plastic surface. So I don't think it's gonna flex and release air with the new O-ring in that. So you'll see my regulator is around 105-ish, and that's with the 6-inch Wii Glock at around 350 FPS. So let's see how fast this thing is shooting at the same pressure. .375, so 361. So it's more efficient than my Glock 34 by Wii, but granted that gun is a couple of years old now. So I've set my regulator now, I don't know, maybe it's like 98, so it's dropped down like maybe 5. Oh wait, it's creeping up a little bit. Well, it's maybe like 100 psi, 98, 100. Sorry, I didn't realize it wasn't focused. Nope. So I would say 98 psi or so is where I want to be if I want to keep it under 350 FPS. I got a little creep here. Right, pretty neat. I actually own a 1911, a real one, but I haven't shot in probably 15 to 20 years. So apparently the safety only works if the hammer's cocked back. Yeah. Alright. You learn something or you're reminded of something every day. Yeah, interesting. But now it doesn't go up. I guess it's because it's not armed. That makes sense, I guess. I kind of wish it just worked either way. Okay, okay. No. Hello everyone, so I'm back with some conclusions. There's good and bad to this pistol in my opinion, and again these are just opinions, so you don't have to agree with me or you can agree with me, up to you. So I played 2 full days with this pistol. The first day, the thing kept on locking open. There's a little bit of roughness. Actually, you can see it right here, right? This should probably close on its own, but there's still a little roughness right there, and it doesn't want to close. So I don't think the gun is actually lubricated from the factory, so it kept on locking open. So then that first day I started putting a mess load of oil in there, and then today, the second day, it never jammed on me. So if I had to guess, you want to put like 1,000 rounds through this thing, and it shouldn't jam up on you, or at least that's my experience with this particular pistol. But yeah, that's a little concerning. I'm not sure why that happens. That doesn't happen on my other pistols, but leave a comment if you know why. For me, I'm not a fan of this safety, so I defeated that safety. The 3-lobe spring, the left side here, you just bend it flat and it no longer puts any pressure on this safety. So this works fine for me. Now if you actually run the gas magazine, I wouldn't recommend you do that. I don't think that'd be smart, because you might accidentally, hit the trigger and take your face out in the staging area. But I run HPA. This thing, being as heavy it is in this, it's impossible for me to leave the field with the gun like this, because I put my magazine in a holster and it's just too heavy. So it will never ever be in a staging area with HPA and be able to hurt someone. So that's why I don't care for this. Alright, so that's a minor issue, of course. One thing that I find bothersome is, why isn't there a thread adapter? It's not like it's an expensive piece, so I had to go track down a thread adapter. It was like $3. I ended up buying 3 of them in case I lose them. But this gun, I think, really should come with a barrel thread adapter, so you can put a tracer on the thing. Alright, so this is to keep my X-Cortec tracer from falling off, causes some friction. It's just like a rubber grommet. Alright, so the main problem I have with this gun is it wasn't designed for gloves. It's designed for just a raw finger. I wear an extra large motorcycle glove, and you can see I can get my fingers in there no problem. I find these Vulcan type gloves to be the best as far as CQB goes. It still hurts a little bit, but I've tried other motorcycle gloves and a bunch of tactical gloves, and this has the most coverage, rubber coverage that is, and I add silicone here to help out even with that. But now look at what's going to happen. I cannot get my glove in here. Left side, right side, it's just, look how small the opening is. It's simply way too small. Yeah, so I look, if you compare it to an AAP, when I run my AAP, I just wear these gloves. Left-handed, right-handed switching is not an issue. But this thing was just so annoying, I had to go and cut my gloves in order to use this pistol. So here I have the same type of glove, and now I had to cut it, but it's leather stitched to some synthetic, and then I had to crazy glue this, and this is really a pain, really. But I have to basically expose my entire fingertip. These are in the washing machine, that's why they look wet. And now I can play with this. But I don't want to have to modify gloves to play with this all the time. So if you play with gloves, this pistol will probably annoy you. It's just astounding to me that this would be designed with such a small trigger guard, when, like, say, a cheaper AAP, it's just so much bigger, and obviously an M4 rifle, even bigger than that, right? Where I play, I would say 99% of people wear gloves, because I play CQB, not out in the woods and stuff like that. So I find that finger shots are very painful, perhaps some of the most painful shots. They don't actually bruise, but they're just really painful for like 5 minutes. Alright, so it might come to the point, once this cut glove wears out, I'm going to cut this whole thing off right here. And what I'm thinking, I just have like a GoPro mount. And now, this is what you can see. I think if I were to run that bolt through that first notch here, you can see my finger would easily be able to get to that trigger. I'll probably keep the bottom part here, and I'm thinking maybe I'll just screw a plate here and here to there, right? So I'll literally have like a plate running between this and that, but this whole front end will be open. It's a real shame they didn't just move that thing a little bit forward, like basically have this surface start there. And I still think they could have probably gotten a flashlight on it if they just moved this whole thing forward up to here. So very strange design decision. Whoever designed this doesn't wear gloves, but I think the majority of CQB players at least wear gloves. So the big oversight. All right, so that's those are the gripes I have. Now the positive thing about this thing is this thing shoots very accurately. My AAP cannot shoot out a sniper tower at the CQB fields I play at. I can suppress people, but this thing is quite accurate. I think it's because it has a tighter barrel, and also it's a long barrel. Earlier in the video, you see me just shooting some targets that are suspended from a ceiling, and so I could never shoot that furthest target with an AAP. So if accuracy is the most important thing to you, this is a pretty sweet pistol. Another benefit of the long barrel, it doesn't consume much air. The AAP, the 5-inch version, sucks down a lot more air than this thing. And then the 4-inch version from the AAP, that thing is an air hog, and it can never shoot at a high FPS because there simply isn't enough barrel to capture that air to propel the BB to 350 FPS. I can only shoot like around 330 FPS no matter how much air I crank into a 4-inch AAP. So yeah, it's a little bit bulky to have a 6-inch barrel, but it saves on air, and at least on this one, it's far more accurate. Much more noticeably accurate. Okay, no problem with the mag release and usage. It's really just this trigger guard I found annoying. And then you'll obviously have to lubricate it, run a bunch of rounds through it, and yeah, so that's that. Yeah, if these guys for some reason run into this video, you gotta throw in a barrel adapter. You're cheaping out. I mean, for something that costs like $1, and you have to make people go and scramble to get a barrel adapter. I find that annoying. Okay, so anyways, it is cool. This will probably be my main. This is gonna be my main gun. Those AAPs are good for the money, but after buying 3 of them and just having them break all the time, it's very that's a different annoyance, right? So hopefully we'll have to see you know, how long this lasts. I will also note that the hop up, it's nice, but it's really backed out to shoot flat at a very far distance. It's almost like just barely grabbing the BB, you know? BBs will just roll out, and then once you barely grab the BB, tightening that, it'll shoot very flat, very far. So it's just a mental note. And you're definitely going to want to thread lock that thing, because there's no thread lock in that. So it's very, I think you'd lose it quite easily. I did try to put an RMR mount on here, first by taking this off, but you can't without an adapter, because the barrel literally is curving up inside of this height right here. So then I slapped one on here, but it just doesn't work for me. I don't know. It's just not good for me. So I'm going to just probably play it like this, because I play CQB again, so I'm not sniping people in most cases. Most shots for me are within 3 meters. Okay, so hopefully that helps you decide. Again, good and bad, but overall it's pretty sweet, and there's a possibility I might try their SSP5 whenever that gets in, because I have Glock mag adapters anyways. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.